Welcome back to the GIGACON Prime Hearthstone tournament here from Oslo. I'm Callum Leslie, joined by Caldi for our second semi-final. Blackout versus Powder. One of these men is going to meet Spo in our grand final in just a little bit. And it's going to be a very intriguing match between two very experienced players bringing the same class lineup. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these two match up.
Yeah, Druid Warlock Hunter against Druid Warlock Hunter. I think the main thing is what type of Warlock it's going to be. Probably going to be Handler on both of them, but we never know, I guess.
I'd assume so. I think, from what I was hearing earlier on, I think they're both going to be running the Demon Warlock. Well, it will be interesting to see what Hunter they're running as well. We've talked, it's a long-known discussion in the community that the Dignitas boys favour their aggressive decks. They favoured Face Hunter for a long time, but it's possible they are looking towards the mid-range Hunter now because it is just so much stronger.
Now here, both the Druid and the Hunter favored against the Warlock, so it's probably going to be about who gets the win with that Warlock first. Might potentially even go to game number 5, Warlock versus Warlock, which would be really epic here in the second semi-final.
Yeah, or they could just both get the wins with Warlock and then we're looking at mirror matches all the way down.
Absolutely, I guess the Warlock has a better chance against the Druid, especially since now the Dionysus can be countered by Dark Bomb, but that basically means you have to keep your Dark Bomb and then you aren't fishing for 4-drops, which is going to be the main key. I guess the Demon Warlock, if they're running that, they're going to have 6 4-drops instead of 4, so better chances all around to actually get something on turn 4, but you also have fewer 5-drops and you possibly even need 2 4-drops to play on turn 4 and on turn 5 to get that tempo rolling. I guess if you have to pick here, though, I would kind of want to see both of them start Hunter. I think that's probably going to be the best idea.
All right, well, we'll see what these guys do open up with. As I say, I think the Hunter is the deck where I'd most expect some variation, perhaps, from the two of them, even just in what secrets they're choosing, even if they're playing the same version.
Yeah.
So what version do you think of the Hunter is the strongest right now? The straight, traditional mid-range with freezing traps?
I think the traditional one, yeah, probably. There's some... I've actually been experimenting with Control Hunter that's been getting good results, but hasn't been tested in tournaments properly, so I think I'm going to have to go with mid-range with web spinners instead of leopard gnomes, and I'd go with the bows over the arcane golems as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen even some variation on that mid-range Hunter. I think it was Hoy was bringing in the Gfinity tournament recently, was bringing basically mid-range Hunter, but with Glaive Zuka and leopard gnome. Instead of one Eagle Horn Bow and as well as web spinners, I think. So he's running basically mid-range, but just with that aggressive early game to really get ahead of some of the other aggressive decks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we are going to get to this game in just a second. Blackout versus Powder. I'd say they're competing for our first prize. They're just 2 games away from the championship here at this point, and their lion's share of nearly $10,000 here at GIGACON on the main stage. It's going to be very exciting indeed. We've got a crowd here watching on the stage here at GIGACON, and of course you watching at home on Hitbox. It's an exciting tournament, Cody. Are you excited?
Absolutely. Here, I think though to talk a bit about the Glaive Zuka leopard gnome variant. You have the standard Hunter, like the more aggressive one, being better against aggression itself, and then if you have the mid-range version, that's probably better against Druid and Warrior, and the bow is such a key against Druid and Warrior. So you're taking, I guess, what makes the mid-range Hunter good and putting that into, and putting in, I guess, the more aggressive versions in terms of the leopard gnome. So I'm not sure I like that too much.
This is interesting. I'm going to go in a limb and say that we're still looking at things the wrong way around here. So I would suggest that would be the Arcane Golem for Blackout and the Web Spinner for Powder, just so we can get confirmation of that. But that would be interesting. That would go back to what we were saying about Dignitas favouring aggressive decks, and then the kind of standard mid-range Hunter on the other side.
Yeah, we kind of predicted them to start with Hunter, both of them, and they actually have gone ahead and done that. Not surprising at all. I think the Animal Companion may be a bit aggressive. Does get the Scientist though, and the bow on top of that. So both bow and arcane golem, interesting. I wonder if he's going to be running Savannah on top of that, because some people run 4 weapons, arcane golems, and skip the Savannah. Glaive Zuka, okay.
Yeah, it is always interesting to see how many weapons these decks run, because you see a lot of double Glaive Zuka, Eagle Horn Bow, maybe 1 Eagle Horn Bow, 1 Glaive Zuka. Ram Wrangler coming into hand for we'll just go with Illyria and Rexar for now until we get confirmation on which reroute these are. That's the helpful use of the alternate heroes. The Ram Wrangler coming in there on the Illyria side. What do you make of the Ram Wrangler, Caldi? We're talking about Control Hunter. That seems to be a card that would fit that in quite well.
Absolutely. If we do the math on that card, you actually get a 3.8 mana beast on average. So you're paying 1.2 mana for a 3/3. It's generally be considered really good. You get a confirmation that actually is Blackout playing the Ram Wrangler and Powder here playing with the Glaive Suka. So Blackout probably playing completely standard mid-range hunter versus Powder bringing more of a hybrid version with Leopard Gnomes and Arcane Golems probably. I'd expect Powder to be actually favored in this exchange here.
You think the hybrid is favored over the mid-range?
Absolutely, yeah.
Interesting. We'll see how this shakes out. Does have a quick shot in hand to deal with a Huffer and can clear up this board a little bit. Maybe even using that Hound to deal with a little bit more, but Blackout's not too far behind here once he deals with this Huffer.
I actually think Powder may have wanted to deny the Helmmaster. That could have been a good play, I feel. Leaving a beast up on turn 4 sometimes gets you if you can avoid having that happen. It's also, leaving these 1/1s up is weaker to unleash the Hounds. We've obviously seen one for Blackout already, but it's going to be 2 most likely in both of those decks here. Now it would be very critical if Powder leaves the Hunter Creeper alive for the Ram Wrangler.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. If he does leave that alive, the Ram Wrangler is going to get great value on turn 5. I mean, who knows what could come out, but you're getting kind of a ramp effect effectively in the Hunter.
Absolutely, yeah. We have the Captured Jormungandr, the new 5/9 that's being played.
Huge.
Yeah.
Well, does leave it up
as well. Yeah, this is literally a mistake. I think he knew that there was going to be a snake trap though after he popped it. I think maybe popping the Hunter Creeper first and then looking at the bow on the Mad Scientist. But now a 3/5. That's what we're talking about. You know.
Yeah, that's great value. A 6/8 for 5 mana. I'd take that any day of the week. But what do you think of Blackout using the Hunter Creeper there, perhaps giving an extra Unleash the Hounds with the Snake Trap as well? Actually, this could be a really huge Unleash the Hounds for Powder.
I guess he was going to be in a lot of trouble against Unleash the Hounds anyway. That's probably how he's feeling. But on the flip side, though, this is definitely not over. I mean, Powder's going to get a great clear here, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, he's still going to be slightly behind on board. Depends what Blackout draws. If he draws nothing, then he's still behind, but it's still... This is obviously a great turn, but it's not...
Yeah, the draw on this turn from Blackout is going to be absolutely critical. Not going to make the same mistake twice. Powder is going to kill off those beasts first, and then I guess kill the Ram Wrangler with a quick shot. Okay.
Face might be okay with the rest, yeah.
Nice to go face, okay. Animal Companion.
Not the best, but he'll take it, yeah.
I cannot do that.
Yeah, the Leok's not terrible either because it does buff those and it really punishes the lack of trade from Powder. So Leok's actually a pretty good pickup there. But he is going to go ahead and trade anyway. Interesting. I guess he is a little bit afraid of the damage that could be coming in from Powder.
Yeah, but Powder isn't playing scared here. He is actually, going to face with the minions that he can afford to. Whereas Blackout is playing definitely more passive. Kind of would have liked him to go face earlier and get that 6 damage because he had those hounds buffed. Now the Gazrilla is down and there's not much of an answer in Powder's hand.
No, it's a pretty big problem for him potentially.
He may just have to start racing at this point.
That's what he's going to do. He's just going to go for face.
Now Blackout can actually kill command his own Gazrilla and take it up to 14 damage. I'll give him 16, 5 of lethal. So
it wouldn't take him up to 16. It would take him to 13 because of the 1 buff from the Leok, right?
I believe it's doubled.
Does it just double it even with the buff?
I believe so, yeah.
Huh. I've never seen that interaction before. No, it goes to 13. Okay, so it doubles its original attack total, which is the 6, and then adds the 1.
Yeah, he probably should have waited with the attack on the Leok for that.
A mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blackout's going to go ahead and concede. Has no way to deal with the boards. And that's going to be 1-0 to Powder.
Ouch, this first hurt.
Yeah, that one does definitely hurt for Blackout. It does come down to that in a Hunter Mirror too. Very often it can come down to just one turn away, and then your opponent has the lethal. Unfortunately, it just comes down to that. You know, who's flipped the coin in the way that the order shook out. Unfortunately, so Powder jumping out to a 1-0 lead, has one with his Hunter. So it's going to be the Druid and the Warlock left for him. Of course, Blackout with his full lineup of decks available. What did you make of the picks from the two players there?
I think they're both spot on, actually. I think this is going to be not that important in the grand scheme of things, as the Warlock is really the class they need to get a win with. It's obviously not good for Blackout's, I guess, mental game here to lose like that in game number 1, and Powder must feel good about that, being 1-0 up here. But I feel like if Blackout, for example, got through here and won with his Warlock and took it to 1-1, he would be ahead in the series now. Blackout realizes that Hunter is going to be his strongest deck and he picks it again. I think it's the right call. Now, facing through it, I think Blackout actually shouldn't have a problem getting away with his Hunter.
Yeah, so it's going to be the mid-range Hunter of Blackout versus the fast Druid of Powder. What do you call this Druid, Haldy? Some people still call it mid-range, some people call it double combo.
I've always just called it mid-range because you don't have double combo in every deck, but you have mid-range minis in every deck, kind of.
Alright, well he does have the Darnassus Aspirant pretty quickly, but that is going to be answered by the quick shot.
It is here. I think if he didn't have this quick shot, he couldn't have gone for the Coin Creeper, but I don't think Coin Creeper was an obvious play there. I've got to admit, because if he doesn't go for it, he could coin out the bow now and go bow Armor Companion, which actually would have been stronger, keeping the quick shot in hand. And he gets 1 damage to do on this, so I think I would have preferred him not to go for the coin on the Creeper on turn 1.
Yeah, Powder would have been so far ahead if that quick shot wasn't in hand. He would have had the Pilot Shredder down now as well as the 2-3, and there would have been very little answer from Blackout's side. As it was, he did have the quick shot and the bow.
Yeah, Blackout is tilted. He looks really tilted here.
Well, I mean, Blackout is kind of an emotional player. We do know he is prone to a little bit of the tilt, and hopefully that doesn't affect him going forward in the series.
This should be bow easy, I believe.
I'm always careful about saying that because Powder's teammate Modern Leopard gets annoyed when I call him an emotional player.
Oh, I see.
But for Blackout, it's okay, I think. I think it's pretty clear.
I still think bow would have just been better here.
That egg is a little bit dead for now for Powder, unless he does do some shenanigans with Savage Roar later on.
I mean, think about it. If we flip this around, would you rather have the Eagle Horn bow or 2 quick shots on a coin? You know, I think I want to have 2 quick shots on a coin, actually.
Well, the Dr. Boom cut does come out in turn 5 for Powder, thanks to the Innervate.
If he's going to trade, though, he should trade first, I think. The Savage Roar could come into play, and that could be... Yeah, if he's going to trade, why not trade into both of the boom bots? Why rush the... Yeah, I have to question this, actually. I think I would have traded first with both of the boom bots. You go take the 4-4 to the face first, then you trade both of the creepers into the boom bots, and then you drop the Shredder. Because it's 1 in 4 that the boom bot hits anything that matters, really, and now a Savage Roar is going to be great. So, yeah, Black may be punished here.
Powder is going for a Savage Roar here, potentially. He's thinking about it quite hard, but...
Yeah, I mean, why not?
What he's going to do, he is going to get the 4-4 Nerubian from the egg as well. That value.
This is a series of small mistakes here from Blackout. It's really unfortunate to see this. He's been playing fantastic all tournament, and now hits a rough game 1 where he makes a small error and this really tilts him.
It's the Bluegill Warrior, and then 9 to face from the Dr. Boom. Does have the Savannah Highmate to come down, but that's 11 damage. With 6 from Force of Nature, that would be 17. So he does need to trade here.
I'm not sure it's not bad, but it's... Yeah, also doesn't have lethal now. He had lethal if he'd gone for the face, but now he doesn't swipe a perfect answer here.
Do you trade with the 7-7 into the 6-5 first, and then clear up all but 2-2, or do you just swipe it to clear the 1-1s?
I kind of like the swipe and going into face with both the 7-7 and the hero power.
Well, Powder's just going to push for lethal. He's in a race right now.
Yeah, he realizes just, you know, with 15 or 16 health, you're not going to die next turn, so...
And he knows with the stuff that he's got in his hand, the Druid of the Claw, the Keeper, the Force of Nature, so much direct damage. Black is going to hope for the juggles here. Whiffs 1. Oh, it doesn't with the second one, thankfully. I think that would have really finished him off.
Absolutely, but he's also going to lose game number 2 here with the strongest deck.
Unfortunately, Force of Nature is going to seal it out for Powder, and Powder's going to jump out 2-0. Blackout having a pretty rough time of it here. And it's going to be just the Warlock for Powder, which is a very strong deck right now, if it is the Demon Handlock as we expect it to be.
But against this lineup, though, it's not going to be that strong. So
it does have 3 chances.
It has 3 chances, but you know, it's going to come most likely down to the Warlock versus Warlock matchup, as the Hunter's an easy call. But yeah, more chances are obviously going to be better. I think Powder is way ahead, but it's not over as it would have been if he only had the Druid or the Hunter left here.
Yeah. I wonder if we do see Blackout go with a Hunter again. So I do know that a lot of times Blackout and his teammates will randomize which deck they're going to play in Conquest, the order in which they're going to play, and I wonder if that's what he's done again this time. Whether or not the Hunter is coming out here as a result of that, or whether he does need to shake it up a little bit. We talked a little bit about really the only big effective choice in Conquest is the mental game. And if you've lost 2 games with a deck, for some players, I know I'd probably be the same, is that if you've lost 2 games with the deck, you kind of maybe want to switch to something else and then come back to that later.
I think if you're that affected by the mental game, you just really need to work on that. Actually, I think a strong player should at least strive to not be that emotional that you actually have to start changing picks and messing up your order just because of how you feel about going into a game, and then you kind of admitting defeat, I feel almost, but Blackout is just picking his best deck and the most simple mulligan over and over, and I think it's the right choice that he's making. But the last game was really...
Yeah, another Haunted Creeper start from Blackout, this time not on the coin. As you see, we do see is the pretty standard Demon Handlock from Powder. Goes with the silence onto the Haunted Creeper straight away. What do you think of that, Caldi?
I think it's pretty good. You want a Dark Bomb or some sort of 2-drop on turn 2 against Hunter. I think it's all about turn 2 and turn 4 when you're playing this matchup. And now the Owl can contest a Mad Scientist, a Knife Juggler, a Haunted Creeper, because you can just silence the effect and then trade into it on the following turn. But I kind of like Hero Power here.
Yeah, he does need to start tapping to get into those handlock minions, but he's just going to use the second Owl, it looks like, for the Scientist. I do think Owling the Scientist is very strong, but it feels like you're giving Blackout quite a lot of information early. You're using quite a lot of you're using both your silence straight away. Could come back to haunt him later on.
Like if you had Void Caller into Belcher into Coin Boom, I would agree with him, but a turn 5 heal bot isn't that strong generally against Hunter. You want that on turn 8 or 9 when you have lower health total, but okay, he's gonna get rewarded though for his, I guess, almost greed if you want to talk about it like that. Now, Owl comes down. Wonder, can't really afford the quick shot, can he?
I don't think so. I think he needs to hold on to that. He's just gonna hero power. So that's 3 Owls in the first 5 turns from these players. Want to deny all their opponents' opportunities.
I actually wouldn't mind him to go... I guess there's some merit to the trade there in terms of the Ram Wrangler, but he goes for the Savannah Hymen really quickly. Every turn is quick now since that misplay. Wonder if it's just him being affected by... I guess the thought of having won that game already, game number 1, but just kind of thrown it away now. See the Mountain Giant come down, again another strong draw. I think I really like Powder's position here in this game number 3.
Looks like we might see the Ram Wrangler this turn. King Crush to trade with the Mountain Giant? Not quite.
Not bad.
It's Mukla.
Value again and again, when I play Ram Wrangler, I keep on getting the Hungry Crab and the Acid Maw. Acid Maw, man. Really bites you, getting the Acid Maw on board.
That's just one you don't want to see, unfortunately. There's very few of the things you can get off Ram Wrangler that actually disadvantage you. It's not like Piloted Shredder in that sense, where there's things like Doomsayer and Unstable Go which can sometimes mess you up.
I guess now with the new cards, Acid Maw and Dreadscale,
Yeah.
But
careful. So we do have a Jiraxis on board now, 315. And that's going to take some beating if Powder's going to taunt this up here with the Molten Giant as well. Yeah, this feels like really difficult for Blackout to come back.
15 health at this point. It's just so much. He has the unleash, I guess. So I like his decision of holding the juggler last turn. Not bad at all. And still hitting all of the juggles on minions, so that's not too bad. Okay.
So you can trade with the Molten Giant here. Kill that off, but it's going to struggle to kill this Jiraxis. Gets the juggle on the Molten Giant. That's pretty good. That's going to make Blackout feel good.
I mean, overall though, if it hit the Jiraxis or the Mountain Giant, it would have been about the same generally. There is the Shadow Flame in hand for Powder, and he's just looking dominating here. And a Hellfire on top of that.
So strong. He's
Now,
he's one mana off being able to do Healbot into Shadow Flame. If this was turn 9, that would be just game over.
It would, yeah, absolutely. I think you should look at maybe attacking into the Haunt the Creeper first. Okay, Mortal Coils first. Not bad. It gets the... Okay. Any attack with Mountain Giant, and he's just won this game almost on its own. An Angry Chicken is not going to be enough. I mean, I guess Blackout can't complain as he'd already gotten the Gazrilla, but...
It's going to be Shadow Flame on that Giant to clear the boards.
I don't blame him. Yeah.
Molten Giant coming down. Yeah, this is a really insurmountable position here for Powder. I think Blackout might just play everything.
Has to be faced now. There's no time.
He's looking for the kill command, doesn't get it.
King Crush, no.
Even King Crush wouldn't help. He couldn't kill the Jiraxis.
I mean, overall though, a 2-drop isn't horrible for a Wrangler, you know.
No.
As you'd value a 3-3 at maybe 2.5 mana, and then a 2-drop on top of that, so it's 4.5 mana. So even this bad scenario is not terrible, but Powder dominating here through in the second semi-final, and he's gonna face Bow.
Powder get another 3. Oh, that's pretty crazy. See both the players in the semi-finals absolutely dominating to get to our final, and Powder versus Spo, all Swedish final.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be 2 players coming in on very good form.
Absolutely. We talked about this last series. We had the mirror matchup, triple mirror matchup in this terms of these lineups: Druid, Warlock, Hunter, Druid, Warlock, Hunter, and I feel like Powder kind of never recovered. No, Blackout never recovered from that first game, and it kind of haunted him throughout the second and third as well.
Yeah, getting that first advantage from Powder, as you see, when they're playing the same lineups, Blackout basically had to answer what Powder was doing and the wins that Powder was getting each time, and that really made him and it put him in a really difficult position coming into that. The Hunter mirror didn't bring the aggressive variant, brought the mid-range variant with the Ram Wranglers, but it just didn't work for him.
Yeah, I kind of liked Blackout's Hunter list better. I have to agree with that. It's not better in the mirror, but in the other matchups it's just so much more, I guess, safe. But yeah, Powder dominating through here, so it's going to be Druid, Warlock, Hunter against, I believe, what is for? He had Hunter and Druid as well, and a Warrior on top of that, a Patron. So a Patron might come in handy against that Hunter at least. But I feel like Powder has a stronger lineup though for the final.
We're also going to see our bronze medal match as well before we get to that final between Odin and Blackout, which is Warrior, Paladin, Druid versus the Hunter, Druid, Warlock of Blackout that we just saw. So that's going to be what's coming up next on the stage in just a little bit, and then we'll get into our grand final. Just 2 matches left here at the GIGACON Prime Hearthstone tournament. Don't go anywhere, but join us back for the 3rd place match in just a little bit.